what happens to the intolerances, what happens to osmolality. How did you manage all these in your BILID study?
I think whenever we are treating a patient in ICU, one thing which should remain and does remain at the back of our mind is, whether the patient will tolerate what I am suggesting to the patient. So in most ICU patients, we give very good intervention plans. We have a good care plan. We start with the intervention, and we want to quickly escalate, start early and quickly escalate by day 3, day 5 to the goal calories, at least to 80%. We want to reach 85% of the goal calories. But if the patient does not tolerate, we are totally defeated in our purpose. And therefore, we want to be very careful in our selections. And classically, as both my co-speakers have said, we want to start isocaloric, we want to go slow, and we want to reach our goal calories maybe by day 3 and 5. The patient is stable and tolerating the foods very well. However, often when we stick to isocaloric feeds or polymeric feeds, we see that we are unable to reach the goal calories simply because of the fluid restrictions that are most commonly seen, as Ritika has described them. And therefore, the challenge in majority of the ICU patients is about lesser volumes, and within the lesser volumes, try and reach the intervention plan that you have designed. And in such scenarios, we do use a lot of high calorie, high protein supplementations. When we use them, yes, we are worried about whether, the osmolarity will be high, whether we are going to, the feed induced intolerances will come up or not. Well, the most common intolerances that we see are about diarrhea, constipation, bloating, heaviness, tightness. And the first person that the physician will call on definitely is the dietitian, or they may already dictate and say that this is caused because of the feed and therefore the feed needs to be changed. Though we are going to reach our calorie and protein goals by using such calorie dense formulas, if intolerances creep in, then we are defeating the whole purpose. So in the study, when we observed, we saw that about 50% of the patients that had some level or any one of these intolerances, but we could gradually over a period of time ensure that these are ironed out by the various mechanisms that we have, and we could graduate from 900 calories on day 1 to about 1300 1400 by day 3 and 5, and by day 6 and 10 we actually could reach the around 1600 1800 calories, which is about 85% of the total calorie requirement. And then these patients stay longer and we are able to help them sustain these intakes as well. So yes, in today's scenario, even though there are fluid restrictions, we see that we are able to manage the nutritional requirements and ensure that the nutritional status of the patient does not deteriorate during their ICU stay.
Lovely strategy. Go slow, go steady, increase gradually.